Alrighty, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Season 5, Episode 3 of Hit the Books, the podcast all about sports betting, the best bets you should be taking at everything surrounding sports. This week, we are into the NFL Week 3, a little Week 2 recap here, as well as us going over every game, all our predictions on every game in Week 3, as well as a little news in the NHL. Heading over to the college football world for some rankings, as well as some games here, the top games here this weekend. Finishing it off with some power rankings and news out of the MLB. But without further ado, let's introduce my co-hosts here with me this week, Huff and Ace. Ace, why don't you just go in here this week? What do you got?
Yeah, ready to get rolling on another week here. My Patriots are at 500, sitting at the same record as you guys, and we take each other on this week, so that's absolutely electric. There's been some good primetime games, right? And the MLB is heating up too. My Red Sox looking to clinch that playoff berth, so everything's in full swing. We got hockey around the corner, some good Saturday football as well in the college world. Ready to go in another week and talk with the boys.
Heck yeah, we are there. It's time for Week 3. Huff, what do you got for us?
Yeah, not much going on. Obviously, coming off a tough, kind of frustrating Steelers loss. A lot of going on there. Good week in the sports world. Scotty Scheffler wins yet again. Didn't end up betting that. That was a weird tournament. Didn't know how those guys were going to come out, but great golf. Obviously, we had a wedding this past weekend. Steelers home opener, big weekend there. Looking forward to having a nice, relaxing weekend. Steelers away, get to just sit back, relax, and watch football. So I am excited about that. And yes, we do go head-to-head this week, so we will get into that whenever we get into the NFL. I think both of us feeling a little bit different. It's obviously the NFL's a league of ups and downs, and when you're coming off a win, you're riding high into that next week. When you're coming off a loss, I just can't stop playing back that kickoff in my head with Caleb Johnson. That was brutal, the absolute turning point of that game. But a lot of other stuff went on in that game. I hate to pinpoint one play, but yeah, we'll get into Week 3 here shortly. And obviously, like we said, going head-to-head, it's going to be a good weekend.
Heck yeah, boys, excited for it. Going to be a solid weekend of football. But let's talk about the NHL here real quick. The Pittsburgh Penguins announced they've signed 3-time Stanley Cup champion Marc-Andre Fleury to a PTO contract where he'll play a preseason game against the Columbus Blue Jackets on 9/27. Has this ever been done before? And what do you guys think about it? I don't think it's ever been done before.
Hey, Ace, do you know if this has ever been done before?
No, usually they just sign their contract to retire with the team.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Whenever I saw it, I was like, okay, he's cool. He's signing with us, retiring as a Penguin. I feel like everyone kind of figured that was going to happen, but let him play in a preseason game, I think is kind of cool because one, our goaltender situation is so we don't even know what's going on, which is kind of surprising that they want to, eat up a preseason game for him. But preseason hockey means nothing. These guys really don't have their feet under them until I feel like a month or so into the season. The hockey, the pace changes is how the game is played. But I'm excited. Get some eyes on a preseason game. Get some people down to the rink. I think this will be a big event in Pittsburgh that night. Go see Fleury one final time, one final send off for the Flower. He brought a lot of great memories here. I think he deserves it. So that'll be a great moment. I think it's a guarantee that Sid and Gino and Letang at least have to dress that game. I don't know if they'll play. They don't play in the preseason, but you never know. Malkin won last year. Maybe he'll dress up for a preseason game and get out there. That'll be a great picture with them three on the ice after a win. Maybe Fleury comes out and with a shutout. Could you imagine? That'd be sick. I mean, I know it's a preseason game, but one final send-off would be awesome.
Yeah, iconic. It'll be pretty cool to see him in that jersey one more time. I mean, he brought so many great moments to the league and one of everybody's favorite faces too. So kudos to him on a great career.
Heck yeah. Definitely an exciting moment for Pittsburgh, exciting moment for the league. I mean, he even said, he's like, I'm not playing the whole game. He's like,
yeah, that's the other thing. It's preseason. They're going to do it like youth hockey. Like they'll probably play a guy each period.
And he's like, the Wild did so much for me as well. He's like, I'm not, here to disrespect them. So that's very interesting. So definitely interesting. Definitely a good thing.
Did he go on a cup run with Vegas? Like, wasn't he on that Vegas team? He was on that Vegas team that lost to the Caps, right?
Oh, I thought he won.
No, I don't think he won.
I don't think he won.
They moved on from.
I think he was in Chicago then.
Oh, Aiden Hill. That's who it was.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. But let's jump over to the NHL, get into our stuff here, our power rankings here to start us off for Week 3. Starting out at number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 4, the Baltimore Ravens. Number 3, the Green Bay Packers. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. And number 1, the Buffalo Bills. What do you guys think here before we get into our Week 2 recap?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams you could fight for that last spot. I know the Chargers are one that we were looking at. Mackie was looking at some like the Rams as well. Some people like the Lions up there still pretty high after a nice resounding win over former coach Ben Johnson. last week. But I think we hit the nail on the head with this one, Huff. You got to have the Eagles and the Bills up there. Eagles defending champions, handling business against two good teams to start the year. The Bills beating the Ravens, beating the brakes off the Jets, and the Buccaneers with a gutsy win on Monday Night Football too. So I like the five that we have in that group. We'll dive into it in these recaps and their outlooks for next week. But anybody else you think that could have been snubbed or close to that top five?
No, you said it. I think the other team that I would have put there is the other team that I bet against on Monday night, and like you said, is the Chargers. I think the Bucks and Chargers both are right there. The Lions, I could see being that picture. I guess if you're gonna have the Bucks / Chargers at 5-6, I think you'd have to have the Lions in that picture right
The Rams
after that.
right there too.
Rams, yeah. There's a couple other options there. I think the top 10. We maybe could do that next week because a lot of these teams, there's so many teams you could put at this
No Indianapolis
spot.
Colts with Indiana Jones.
I'm not gonna say I called this, but I did quote unquote say the Colts have a pretty nice team starting out 2-0. They played a Broncos team that looks like they're on a little bit of a downslide from last year, which you did say. So I don't know what to put on that win that was at home. Starting 2 games at home is huge for them, but
massive.
Yeah, we're going to see it on the road this week. I think they're in Tennessee. That's a scary game. They're only getting like 3.5 points, but yeah, we'll have to see. Indiana Jones.
Heck yeah, solid stuff here to enter week 3. Let's head to our week 2 recap here. Week 2 of the 2025 NFL season began Thursday night with the Packers' impressive win against the Commanders in the early window Sunday. The Patriots eclipsed 30 points for the first time since 2021 in their tight win over the Dolphins. Meanwhile, the Bills and Ravens dominated the Jets and Browns, respectively, after their head-to-head Week 1 thriller last Sunday night. The Cowboys and Giants played the first overtime game of the season, with Dallas winning it via kick from Brandon Aubrey. In the late window Sunday, Colts kicker Spencer Schrader got a chance to redo and convert his winning kick against the Broncos after a penalty. The Panthers put up 16 straight points against the Cardinals, and Carolina couldn't score on its final drive. And the Eagles stalled the Chiefs' late comeback in a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. In the first game of Monday Night Football's doubleheader, quarterback Baker Mayfield and the Bucs pulled off another winning drive late in the fourth quarter, this time against the Texans, to keep their undefeated streak alive. In the second game of the night, quarterback Justin Herbert led the Chargers over the Raiders to improve to 2-0 on the season. What are your guys' thoughts here on week 2?
Yeah, I mean, I said it, my Steelers coming off a frustrating loss against the Seattle team. You get them, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 a.m. body time there for that Seahawks team. They came in and absolutely smacked us in the mouth all game. Our defense continues to look terrible. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I'm not big on Sam Darnold, but their defense is very pesky. They have a lot of good players around the field. I think last week I kind of doubted Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, so kind of ate my words there. Kenneth Walker with about 150,000 yards, it felt like, in a touchdown to cap things off in that game. But 105 yards and a touchdown on 13 carries. I had to look it up. But, the Steelers couldn't handle business there. Your Patriots, obviously, down in Miami, a place they usually struggle. A lot of people are down on the Dolphins this year, but, still a good win. Go in there, get a win in the division.
Back-to-back kickoffs, too. I mean, we gave up that punt return touchdown in the very next play, the ensuing kickoff. We take that all the way to the rack with Antonio Gibson. Won him AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. That was nice to see. Your Steelers, I think the big story with them is how weak the defense has been.
How bad the defense looks, and that's what we're known for. It's crazy.
Yeah, you never expect to see that. Aaron Rodgers looked very different than he did in Week 1 as well, so a mixed bag of sorts for him to start the season, especially at home.
That's what I always say. My favorite part about week 3 is for one-on-one teams. It's like, all right, you had the good game, you had the bad game. Let's see which side starts to, weigh down and be more the truth, I guess you'd say, especially for our teams in this case.
Yeah, and
we lose this game in New England. That's a 2-game losing streak to 2 teams that people didn't have a lot of hopes for. I know obviously you're different about your Patriots, but in retrospect to the rest of the league, like that's going to be a bad loss on the Steelers' resume. We lose this game.
Yeah, they're right there in the same conversation right there. A lot to be seen for both of them. A lot of 1-1 teams trying to prove it. The 0-2 teams trying to come out of the hole. The Chiefs lose again last week in America's Game of the Week to the Philadelphia Eagles. Patrick Mahomes couldn't get the job done. And the Eagles, without Jalen Hurts throwing a touchdown pass this year, find another win against a good team. J.J. McCarthy.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy fumbling in the Sunday Night Football game and getting injured, who's out for a few weeks now. We saw Joe Burrow go down and Jake Browning step up for a nice win there. But without Burrow, we're going to have to see how they do it. But I think the big game of the week was potential game of the year after that Ravens-Bills week 1. We got another great one with the Cowboys and the Giants. Brandon Aubrey ripping a 64-yard field goal to send it to overtime, and then winning it in OT. Cowboys fans holding their breath. They thought Malik Neighbors put him to sleep. He did too with that celebration, but the Cowboys rose from the dead and won that one.
Give Russ his flowers there, mister. Almost had 500 yards. I think that was his career high in
Tough pick to
passing.
lose the game, though. Tough pick that last drive. I mean, he was playing perfect all day. Scatabo, the emergence of him was nice, and then getting Malik involved too was cool. But that
Malik
team
Neighbors, the play in overtime, the play in the fourth quarter to Malik Neighbors was insane.
Yeah, Malik Neighbors, one of the best receivers in the league. Mac and I were debating this. I think I have him at that 5 spot, which is crazy. He's jumped up ahead of some of those older guys like Evans, Brown, and Tyreek Hill, but he's been dynamite, and he just keeps ascending. That Chargers team, I'm surprised you guys took the Raiders. Raiders so weak. And then, again, I'm saying this Chargers team, I'm beating their drum. They're not in our top 5, but they're one of the best teams in the league, stacked on offense and defense. Great coaching staff, Harbaugh and Greg Roman running the offense. They lost Khalil Mack, which is tough to see, but all the weapons that Herbert has, this might be the year he puts it together. And shout out to his girlfriend. I mean, maybe he's got that swagger back in him now too. But I think the big thing is he's actually healthy, and being a dual threat is massive for him. And we already talked about it, but Baker Mayfield, gutsy performance to get that win.
Yeah. Heck yeah, boys. Great stuff out of week 2. Let's jump right into week 3. Let's start out with Thursday Night Football here. The Dolphins and the Bills in Buffalo. The Bills are our favorite here. 12.5 points for them. Total at 49.5. Ace, what are you thinking about week 3's Thursday Night Football game here in Buffalo?
I think this is Mike McDaniel's last game as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they have had players' meetings on their own without him. They've been getting beat by teams that they think they should be beating. Tua Tagovailoa, not with great comments in the locker room, and they don't really have a foundation set for what their future is looking like. The only guy that's really turning up for that team is Devin Achane. He got in the end zone once again. He's complete dynamite, but Tyreek Hill's signing off, Tua signing off. Mike McDaniel's lost for words. I don't think they have any answers, and this is the last time we see him on the Dolphins sideline.
Yeah, I kind of agree that it just looks like a bad kind of shakeup of things going on in Miami. Tyreek wants out. Tua looks bad. The coach looks bad. It's going to be interesting here because I think they get rocked in this game. I did already post my teaser for this weekend, including the Bills spread here with the Packers on Sunday. But I have the Bills at -6. I think they absolutely handle business. I wouldn't be surprised to see them cover this 12.5, but it is a divisional game in the prime time, 2-possession spread that kind of screams Dolphins plus 12.5 to me. So that's why I lowered the Bills down. Very confident in the -6.
Yeah, I do think they cover that double-digit number, but it is a lot, like you said. We saw the Packers defend home field on Thursday Night Football last week. I think the Bills do the same thing. That place will be rocking for Thursday Night Football, which is generally slow in a divisional game, but they completely dismantled the New York Jets last week. James Cook looked absolutely electric, continuing his dominance from the previous season. Josh Allen continuing to wear his Superman cape, and that defense has been very strong too. I mean, that defensive front, we talked about it. They didn't even have Ed Oliver last game, but they still have Gregory Rousseau. They still have Joey Bosa. The secondary is strong, and they have some good linebackers as well. Sean McDermott's got him playing good football. There's so many weapons on offense. Yeah, they don't have that marquee target for Allen to throw to, but they have guys like Kincaid and Knox. You have Coleman. They brought in Palmer, and Shakir's still a weapon for him too, but James Cook and Josh Allen, the two of them really beating the drum for them offensively. I look for them to put up big points once again in the offense and defense to continue to dominate McDaniel's last game as the Dolphins head coach.
Definitely something we got to take a look at here come next week. Will Mike McDaniels be around here next week? We'll find out. But let's jump into our games here on Sunday, starting out in the early slate here. Packers and Browns in Cleveland. The Packers the favorite here. 8 points for them. The total at 41.5. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm looking at the right thing. What are your guys' thoughts here on this game in Cleveland?
I'll take this one. You're so high on these Packers this year.
Yeah, I think the Packers win this game. This is a weird spread. I never like 8 points. I feel like it doesn't go my way. This is the second leg of my teaser. I lowered this down to 3. So it was 8.5 on FanDuel where I placed the teaser. So that's why I got to 3 there. But I think the Packers handle business here. They're going to get to 3-0. This Browns team isn't much to be scared of. I do like the under here, 41.5. I think both defenses have a good day over there in Cleveland. I think the defensive line of the Browns is able to get to Jacobs, get to Love, kind of, keep that clock running on some of these possessions. Look for this game. I look it to go under. Give me the Packers minus the 3 points. I think it'll be somewhere in the ballpark of, 24, 10, 13, something like that.
Yeah, I could see a lot more points coming for the Packers because of the inefficiencies on the Cleveland Browns offensive side of the ball. Yeah, their tight ends are stepping up like David Njoku and Harold Pandon Jr., the rookie really showcasing his skills early on. But Quinshad Junkins has been named the number 1 running back in Cleveland too. He looked good in his debut last week, but that's nowhere near enough against the best defensive unit in the league. The Packers have yet to allow a rushing score this season. They played 2 very strong offenses, the number 1 and number 2 offense respectively last season in the Lions and the Commanders, and they held them at bay. I don't think the Browns will have an answer. It's going to look like last week where they got dismantled by the Ravens. Myles Garrett does lead the league in sacks. I could see him getting after Jordan Love a little bit. And we're going to have to see what Jordan Love targets. They just lost Jaden Reed for the year. Tucker Kraft had the big night on Thursday Night Football. We saw Matthew Golden get very open a bunch of times, and Jordan Love just missed. That timing is going to come down, and he's going to have some big plays and be dynamite. Look for Romeo Doubs to step up. They also like some of the other receivers they have. Christian Watson's still on the table for this team. So eager to see who else can get into the mix for this Packers team. But Josh Jacobs, I think he continues his touchdown streak. He scored in so many games in a row. I think he's automatic to get in. He'll probably be around minus 200, minus 250 for this team this week against the Cleveland Browns. But Micah Parsons on the pitch count, they're still doing well of getting pressure on the quarterback. Rashawn Gary is very strong on that side of the ball too. They still have Xavier McKinney in the secondary. I think that LaFleur has a great group this year. They're going to stick strong this week, get to 3-0, and look like some Super Bowl favorites that a lot of people are touting them to be. I like them to cover that large number. I like the tease that you have on it, but I think they have a good day against the Browns this weekend. We could see a quarterback change coming soon in Cleveland, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Steelers play them week 5. I do not think we see, or week 6. I do not think we see Flacco.
Yeah, and that's early
I
on.
agree.
Flacco's stable. He doesn't offer you an upside. Maybe those quarterbacks will be ready. That's a tough environment in Pittsburgh too, but we'll see. If you keep getting blown out, you got to roll out the new guys. They got Judkins in the mix. They got Fannin in the mix. Why not throw Gabriel Shadur in there too?
Good stuff there. Let's head to the next matchup here. Bengals and Vikings in Minnesota. The Vikings are the favorite here. -3. No Joe Burrow, but the total's at 42. Vikings money line at -155. Bengals at +130. What do you guys think about this one?
No
I
Joe
like the
Burrow.
Vikings
Also no JJ McCarthy. You like Carson
Yeah.
Wentz?
I if I'm giving a pick on the game, I'd say Minnesota. I think the Bengals are a lot different of a team without Burrow. I know Browning stepped in last year and was serviceable, but give me the team with the better defense in a game of 2 backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's something I would say too, is that Vikings defensive unit is very underrated, led by Andrew Van Ginkel. I think he's one of the most underrated defensive players in the league. They've been strong. Even in their loss last week to the Falcons, their offense was inept, and they were able to keep the team in the game. They just lost Aaron Jones for the year too, so look for Jordan Mason to tote the rock pretty often against a weaker Bengals defense. Has stepped up early in this year. I think that the Vikings are going to get going. Carson Wentz, veteran quarterback. He'll find Justin Jefferson, unlike JJ was able to do last week. He's got Hawkinson, too. That's a nice safety valve at tight end. And I think he gets Thielen involved. We saw him emerge a little bit, too. Fire up Jordan Mason in your fantasy leagues. I think he finds pay dirt this week. I think it does go over, too. Jesse said sitting in the low 40s for a total here this week. Browning showed that he can put points on the board. I have confidence in Wentz with the weapons that he has available. I know that Browning will probably throw an interception. I think he had 2 or 3 last week, but he also had 2 or 3 touchdowns as well. And with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown, I mean, they're going to get something going at least. But I'm going to trust Kevin O'Connell in that Minnesota Vikings team. We saw Sam Darnold step in and do the same thing last year. I think Wentz can do the same exact thing in this spot.
I'm interested to see if he can do it again with another quarterback.
This is a stat, too, for you. This is the first time any quarterback has started for 6 different teams in 6 straight years. So that's pretty cool to see for Carson Wentz. A great offense to step into.
Right? Cool to see. Can't stay with a team, however you want to view it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's a good veteran quarterback to have on your bench. If you lose your guy.
I was listening to the radio today, and the guy pointed out, he goes, I mean, he is getting signed by a lot of these young offensive head coaches. They want to have him as a backup. Sean McVay with the Rams.
Security.
They have these guys that they know can step in. Kevin O'Connell now with Minnesota there. I'm interested to see what he can do. We know what he did with Darnold and years past, even other guys that have stepped in there. I'm blanking on. I was going to say, and then Daniel Jones. Could he have revived him, and that's why he's succeeding down there in Indianapolis? Well, I guess we'll never know there, but I'm interested to see what Wentz looks like up there in Minnesota.
One of the best offensive minds in Kevin O'Connell. One of the best situations to walk into with all the weapons surrounding them.
No Aaron Jones, though, but what's his name has looked good.
Jordan Mason, I think he's a better runner than Aaron Jones at this point in his career. And now Jones on the IR could be missing the rest of the season. So Jordan Mason's legs have looked good. He's a strong, big running back. Look for him to stay successful on the ground. like I said, Hawkinson and Jefferson, you got to get them the ball more. I think Wentz will feed it to them.
It's definitely a big week for the backup quarterbacks here. 5 backup quarterbacks will be the second most we've seen since 2013. In 2019, week 3, we had 6 backup quarterbacks starting, and they went 5-1 against the spread that day.
Interesting.
But let's jump to this next 1 o'clock matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers heading to New England to visit the New England Patriots here. Steelers the favorite here, just 1.5 points. Their money line at -125. Patriots at +105. The total sitting at 44.5. Ace, what do you think our Patriots are going to do at home this week?
Yeah, I mean, Drake May's had a very successful start to the season this year. He set a career high in passing with 287 yards in a Week 1 loss to the Raiders. And then he bounced back last week. He found one on the ground himself. He found some through the air. And he was very efficient, not missing many passes, getting everybody involved. Ramondre Stevenson with one of his best games as a pro against a weak Dolphins run defense, and he really exposed them. The secondary looked weak for the Patriots, though, against Tyreek Hill without Christian Gonzalez for the second straight week. He's practicing this week, so if we can get him in the mix, one of the top cornerbacks in the league, matching up with DK Metcalf, that would be awesome because the Steelers have definitely got him involved early and often. Jalen Warren's looked very good for the Steelers as well, but the Aaron Rodgers mixed bag of play so far is going to be the big thing to watch, in my opinion. And the fact that the Steelers defense has not shown up. The Patriots have 3 good running backs. They have Ramondre Stevenson, the highly touted Travion Henderson out of Ohio State, and Antonio Gibson, the special teams player of the week. He can also tote the rock too. A lot of different receiving options, but Drake May starting to showcase some of his prowess under the duress of TJ Watt. We'll see how he does. Will Campbell yet to allow a pressure or a sack in his inaugural season, so that's been nice to watch too. I've got the Patriots here winning a close one. I could see a 23-20 game. I think that we're able to shut down that run game and force Rodgers to pull out some magic. I don't know if he has any left. He might have used it all in Week 1. And besides DK Metcalf, nobody on that offense really scares me. Jalen Warren stepping up to the role, though. It's not Caleb Johnson, who we thought was going to step up. So he looks good, too, in a 3-down back set. I think it's going to be a very physical, hard-fought game in New England. Give me the Patriots to take it on top because of the dynamic Drake May on offense.
Yeah, my pick. I mean, I'm obviously going to go with my squad here. I just am waiting on this defense to wake the fuck up. I think this is a great game to do it. Obviously last week you had your home opener, all the hype around that with Seattle. You just had a big win in New York, even though, you let up 32 points to the Jets and that Justin Fields offense. Then you go let up 30 against the Seahawks. They've let up 60-some points in 2 weeks. I'm waiting on this team to wake up. I think this is a great point. They're getting they're laying 1.5 here for a reason. I think Rodgers is going to at least carry them to, a sustainable amount for the offense, where the defense is going to keep it up. We'll start playing some Steeler football on the defensive side of the ball. I think guys like you said, Metcalf, Warren, Rodgers, I think those are the 3 key pieces. And obviously the defense waking up, which are 3 big ifs, or I guess you'd say mostly 1. I just want the defense to figure it out. We've seen what the offense can do over 2 weeks. They had a great game against the Jets, subpar game against the Steelers or against the Seahawks, but a tip pass in the end zone, the muff kick, a lot of stuff went wrong in that game. But I look at the Steelers to get back on track here. I don't know if I'm going to lay the 1.5. Give me the -120 or whatever it is on the money line, but I also kind of think this will be a lower scoring game. I'm seeing closer to like 21-17, 20-17. I think one of these teams will be in the teens, I'd say.
Yeah, so this game should be tight coming into the fourth quarter. One stat that's really popping to me with your defense is they're giving up 4.9 yards per carry. That's absurdly
it's insane.
Dude,
they couldn't stop anything.
And with
that
the
goes back to last season too. That's why the Ravens killed us in the playoffs. That's why the Bengals killed us at the end of the season. The Ravens killed us at the end of the season. The Eagles killed us at the end of the season. I mean, we had a gauntlet to end the season last year, but our defense cannot stop the run. That's why Derek Harmon going down for the first 6 weeks was massive.
And that's a good way to neutralize TJ Watt, too. If you want to keep that pressure away from him.
Who also hasn't done anything in 6 games. Doesn't have a sack in 6 games.
Yeah, run the ball efficiently. That's the only guy that I'm worried about on your team. He's a game breaker. But with the way Josh McDaniels schemed the offense last week, Ramondre Stevenson was running free all over the Miami Dolphins. I expect him to do that again. A power runner against a weak defensive front. Should have a good day. And the big key piece for the Patriots will be getting Christian Gonzalez back on the field. If he's able to be out there and match up one-on-one with DK Metcalf, I'm eager to see what kind of offense the Steelers can produce. The big thing for the Patriots will be ball security. If Drake May can limit the interceptions he did last week, they can limit any turnovers. They'll have a strong one this one. You know that the Steelers will put up points by the leg of Chris Boswell, second best kicker in the NFL, in my opinion, behind Brandon Aubrey. So you got to watch out for that too. And the Patriots do have kicking questions of their own with Andrew Borregales, who they drafted this year out of FSU. Missed a couple of extra points that almost came back to bite us last week, but drilled it late at the 4-yarder to give us that nice cushion. Our defensive front too. Harold Landry tied with Myles Garrett, leading the league in sacks at 3.5. Look for him to stay strong. What a great signing by Mike Vrabel to bring him in. He's been absolutely nails, along with Milton Williams, who got the game-winning sack against the Dolphins last week. If we can get some pressure on Aaron Rodgers, I think it's going to be a tough day for them. Patriots have been stout against the run too, so if we can get Gonzalez out there to limit Metcalf, it's going to be tough to find offense for those Steelers. And the Patriots with Drake May, I think they can get something going. Give me the Patriots on the money line. This is going to be a good, hard-fought football game this week.
I think it's going to be a solid game, a fun game to watch. A good game.
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Steelers historically not good against the Patriots. That's even back before, post Brady days. Even I remember Mac Jones came here and beat us. I think we've played twice since Brady. At least it would be at least twice, right?
This might be
We're 1-6 in our last 7 games against New England, home or away.
Yeah, it's a good stat. I like that. Ride with the trend. Our team trending up, your team trending down after week 2. Like we said, 2 1-1 teams going head-to-head. A crucial, pivotal game for both of them this week. Come on, Pats, let's get that home opener in the red throwbacks, too. So that's
this isn't home opener. You guys were home against a Raiders.
Oh, yeah. The home debut of the red throwback jerseys this season. Love those. And the Patriot.
Oh, you guys are wearing those on Sunday?
Yeah. And we got Pat the Patriot on center of the field, so it's going to be the throwback day. Cool. Probably have some old Patriots in the building, too.
I like their jerseys, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to watch.
We should have wore yellow. That would have looked cooler.
I agree.
Red versus yellow, they could do that.
What is this, Thursday Night Football color rush?
Yeah, color rush, baby. That would have been sick. It would have looked like a game in, like, the fucking 1940s.
Yeah, right? These red helmets, red jerseys with the white helmets, I mean, could be up there for some of the best uniforms in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I love those.
Fun
those and the Falcons thirds are some of my favorite right off the top of my head. But
I like the Broncos and the
Houston
Oilers. Yeah. That's a good one as well. But one more point here. Shout out to Stephon Diggs expecting a baby with Cardi B. Maybe he finds the end zone for the first time this week. It was Matt Collins and one unsung hero.
Mac, your boy.
Yeah.
I saw you got it in 1 reception, 8 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah, one unsung hero, though. You following college football, Heavy Huff. Kayshon Boutte out of LSU. I know he had the injury and they sat out a year. We got him as a steal late in the draft, and he's been dynamite. His connection with Drake May has been great. He found the end zone with a great grab last week. I think he continues to be a solid receiver outside, and Hunter Henry's a solid target as well. A lot of different options for the Patriots, which is going to help out spreading the ball this week, in my opinion. I wonder who Jalen Ramsey is going to be matched up with, because there's no true one to follow around.
He's been good. He hasn't been the problem.
No, definitely. But it's not like the other teams where you keyed on JSN, you keyed on Garrett Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Who does he match up with? Kayshon Boutte? Does he match up with Diggs in the slot? It'll be interesting to see where he goes on the field.
Alrighty, boys. Great stuff. Going to be a fun game for us, especially here in-house. But let's keep going here. Next 1 o'clock matchup here. 2 teams looking for their first loss. Rams and Eagles in Philadelphia. The Eagles are the favorite. 3.5 points for them. Their money line at -190. Rams +155. The total sitting at 44.5. Huff, what do you think about that? Or Ace, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I think that I can't doubt the Eagles at all. They're the defending champions for a reason. They're 2-0 against 2 great teams, but this could be the Rams Super Bowl. It could be a trap game of sorts. Let's not forget last year in the playoffs, they had a chance of knocking out those Eagles earlier in, I believe, the divisional round. And that snow game where stuff wasn't going right for the Eagles, but they held on to get the win. And this team coached up by McVay, they still have Matt Stafford, and they have Puka, and they have Devontae Adams. Kyron Williams looks strong too, and that defense really soared at the end of last year, and they're riding it into this season. I think they had 2 lighter opponents to start the season, but it's a good matchup for the Eagles here. They can if anybody can shut down that 2-headed monster at receiver, it's these Philadelphia Eagles. I know they're only laying 3.5 points. I'd buy that 0.5 point. I'm going to trust the Eagles till the wheels fall off. I know Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown a touchdown yet, but you got to think they haven't even played good football yet, and they're still winning games. Their ceiling's so high. I know it's a new offensive coordinator, but Barkley, he's going to get going a little bit more. Look for A.J. Brown to get more involved as well. I could see some points on this scoreboard, even though it's 2 strong defenses. Give me the Eagles here to defend their Super Bowl champion and prove that it wasn't a fluke that they beat the Rams last year.
I'm going to go on the opposite side here. I like the Rams. I'm going to take the points. I think they... Obviously, kind of for all the reasons you said, but a couple ones I don't agree with. The Devontae, or the being able to stop Devontae and Puka. They still have Adoree Jackson out there. Cooper DeJean's, obviously, we know what he's capable of.
Mitchell.
Quinyon Mitchell. This defensive back defensive back core is not as good as it was last year. I think that's how the Rams are going to be able to succeed in this game. I think, obviously, the Eagles are riding high, coming off a big win in Kansas City there. They just beat the Chiefs again. obviously coming off that Super Bowl rematch. I like the Rams here. I think the defense gets after Barkley, gets after Hurts. Like you said, I love the stat that they haven't scored a passing touch. I don't know if that's by choice or what's going on there, but get to the quarterback, force them to run the ball, whatever they got to do. The Eagles obviously are a great team, and it's going to be tough to beat them. So, but I'm big on this Rams team, just as I am that Packers team. I think they're right up there. Give me the Rams plus the 3.5 points. I just think if they lose this game, it's going to fall within 3.
Yeah, 2 star-studded teams, well coached. And Jalen Carter getting that full game last week was important too. I think he's able to put some pressure on Matthew Stafford to make it a little bit tougher. But this is going to be a good matchup. 2 teams at 2-0. I could see the Rams winning this game. I don't think I'm going to throw the Eagles on the card, but I'm just going to trust the pedigree that they have and the ceiling of this team. But it's going to be a tightly contested one. I could see a 28-24 win for the Eagles this week. I believe they're at home, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that being in Philadelphia is massive too, in my opinion. You know how loud that place can be. Jalen Hurts and the brotherly shove has been very successful so far. I don't see anybody stopping that. But McVay, after tearing his ACL on the sidelines, I don't know if you guys saw that last week.
Yeah, I did see that.
He's going to be active for this game. So I think that they're going to be in good hands to put up a good fight against the defending Super Bowl champions.
I think it's going to be one of our better matchups here this week. But let's jump into this next one here. Another 1 o'clock matchup. New York Jets and Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. The Bucs are the favorite here. 7 points for them at home. The total at 43.5. Who wants to get us going on this one?
Ty God Taylor, Hoff. Do you think he can take down Baker Mayfield?
No, I don't. I think the Bucs at 6.5/7. You're getting 7 at plus 100. I don't normally like laying numbers that big. I'll take the Bucs -7 here. They look great. They obviously just went down a huge win on Monday Night Football in Houston, a tough place to play against a Houston Texans team that I think is a lot better than their record looks, playing 2 very tough opponents to start the year. But give me Tampa Bay here. Obviously, like you said, no Justin Fields here. I think with or without Justin Fields, I'd take the Bucs here minus the 6.5 or 7. I just think the Bucs are able to get points. That defense has looked good at times. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay here at home.
What's crazy is we talked about the Steelers defense kind of letting us down early on, but the New York Jets defense is usually highly touted as a good group, and they've given up a ton of points to start the season in 2 straight losses, getting blown out by the Buffalo Bills, getting shit pumped by Aaron Rodgers too in week 1. The big thing is, can they stick around and hang in games? I don't know if they can score enough points to keep up with the Bucs, but the Bucs have been letting teams hang around in the fourth quarter. Both their games coming down to the final drive where they could have lost. Baker heroics in week 2, and in week 1, a Young-Ho Koo kick that could have forced overtime. The emergence of Emeka Egbuka is nothing to underwrite, though.
Yeah,
that
he's
guy's
good.
a complete stud out of Ohio State. And you still have Mike Evans, who they've yet to really get going fully while they're waiting for Chris Godwin to come off the injury, and Jalen McMillan, too. Bucky Irving looks dynamite. Everybody loved Bucky last year. And also, Rachaad White stepped up last week in an RB2 role. I expect him to potentially get traded. Teams like the Kansas City Chiefs could come after him. They could really use a strong running back like Rachaad White. He would be starting in a lot of other places. I'm sure you would even like him in Pittsburgh, too. But they have a lot of weapons there. Their O-line's still a little dinged up in Tampa Bay, so that's something to keep an eye on. But Vita Vea in that defensive front, being able to stop Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, I think that's going to be big. Look for Garrett Wilson to have a big game, though. The Bucs haven't been able to contain star receivers, and I expect him to go off. Tyrod Taylor, another competent backup quarterback who can step in. He's used to coming into the spot off the bench. He's going to put up a fight. That 7 points kind of scares me the way the Bucs have been winning. I do think they win the game outright, but 7's a lot to ask for from a team that hasn't been able to put anybody away as of late.
Solid stuff on that one, boys. Let's keep it moving here through the 1 o'clock slate. The Las Vegas Raiders and the Washington Commanders here. The Commanders at home, and they're the favorite. 3.5 points for them. Their money line, minus 185. The Raiders, plus 150. The total sitting in an even 44. A lot of these totals sitting around that 42.5 to 44 range this week. What are your guys' thoughts on this one? 2 teams, 1-1.
It could be Marcus Mariota this week, too. Jaden Daniels got dinged up at the end of that Thursday night football game. That's a very important factor to look into. If he's in the game, there's a chance that the Raiders could stick around. But I don't know if you watched that full 10 o'clock Monday night football game. But that Raiders offense was completely incompetent. Brock Bowers was finding openings, but they kind of took away him and Jacoby Myers. And Ashton Genty, they're stacking the box against him, so he has nowhere to run. Yeah, he looked like he was close to breaking some, but they did no answers. The defense is stepping up a little bit with Max Crosby and co., but they were getting passed all over by the Los Angeles Chargers last week. I don't think they can put up enough points to hang with the Washington Commanders. Austin Eckler out for the year now, so my boy Bill is going to get the crack at lead back in Washington, so I expect him to find pay dirt this week. But without Jaden Daniels, this could be a much more interesting game than it would have been with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I don't really have a pick on this game. It's kind of hard to call without the question mark next to Jaden's name there on that injury report. But I guess I'd lean on the Commanders here at home, laying a field goal. The Raiders, like you said, didn't look great at home in the prime time there against a division opponent, but that Chargers team is very good. This Commanders defense is a little lackluster compared to the way they were playing last year when they went on that run. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Raiders stick around in this one, but I really don't have an opinion on the spread. I think until we know what's going on with Jaden, I don't really have a play on this one.
Yeah, Jaden's the big question mark. If he plays, I think he absolutely lights up that secondary. One of the weakest defensive back groups in the league. They don't really have an answer for any receivers. They have a bunch of middling guys playing linebacker. They have Jamal Adams out there, Landon Roberts, I think Devin White as well. Yeah, so nobody that really jumps onto the paper and scares you. But if Mariota's in the mix, I mean, they might keep the points down. Deebo Samuel, Jesse hit on his reception prop last week. He's looked good on the Commanders so far. A target hog in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. And Terry McLaurin, we know how good he is too. What about Zach Ertz? Still showing he's one of the premier tight ends in the league. We can catch after catch in clutch moments through the middle of the field. So we'll have to see how the target share goes around without Eckler. He was getting a lot of those PPR catches, but I think Bill will step in. They didn't establish a run game against the Packers. I think they're going to commit to that heavily this week. That opens up the rest of the game because that's why Jaden was getting so much pressure in his face last week. Give me the Commanders here to win either way, but with Jaden Daniels, I think they put up a lot of points. The Raiders can't put more than 15 to 20 points on the scoreboard this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Heck yeah, boys. Lots of good stuff out of the 1 o'clock slate so far, but we got another one here. Falcons and Panthers in Carolina. The Falcons are the favorite here. 6 points for them. The total sitting at 43.5. What do we think about this matchup here? Panthers are winless yet. What are our thoughts?
Yeah, this Falcons team, I'm weirdly kind of growing on me with Bijan, Penix, and seeing him under center there. What he's, a big win there in Minnesota. No, obviously that Vikings team didn't look great there in that primetime game. I think it was Sunday night. But Falcons coming off a win, a divisional game, laying 6 points on the road is not something I'm big on. I think the Falcons will get the win here. The Panthers, a lot of people had high expectations, not high expectations, but some expectations for this Panthers team coming into this year. I think I was one of them, Mace. I think you might have even been on that Panthers train, hoping they would make some noise this year. I'm not ready to put them to bed yet, but I see them starting the season 0-3. I think Atlanta gets a win here. I don't love the spread. This was going to be my other option for my teaser. I was going to either just get Falcons money line or the Packers -3. I went with the Packers just because this is a divisional game, but I guess I'd also look at under 43.5. I think that Falcons defense is also a little better than people give it credit for. Xavier Legette's looked terrible for the Panthers. I obviously, he's a fan favorite. Trouba Hubbard's looked good, and Bryce Young, obviously, we've seen from him. Yeah, he's obviously a receiving threat. I got to see it before I can believe it from this Panthers team. I was big on them last year. I hope they do good, but this Atlanta team looks like they're gonna find a stride, and I think this is gonna be a game where they get a win, give to 2-1, 2-game win streak, and they could be a team to look out for in that NFC South, chasing down those Bucs.
Yeah, that's one. You made a good point there. That's exactly how I feel with Bryce Young. I want him to be good, but I'll believe it when I see it. And in that case, I have to take the Falcons here this week. You talked about their defense. No big names on the defense, but they're scheming well. They're the top scoring fantasy defense on the year so far after a big week last week against the Minnesota Vikings. I think they play another young quarterback in Bryce Young, who's a little bit more competent. And Torrey McMillan, that top pick, has looked complete dynamite on the field. Jatavion Sanders, the tight end, really stepping up too. And Trouba Hubbard is a true RB1. Maybe they can ride high off of that little comeback they posed against the Cardinals last week. They were getting walloped 27-3, 20-3, something like that. Almost came back, like Jesse said at the beginning of the cast, and came one drive short of winning that game. So maybe they can find a little bit of grind there and pull one out. It's a divisional game. It could be close, but Michael Penix has looked really good, getting the ball to Kyle Pitts, getting the ball to Drake London. Hopefully Darnell Mooney suits up this week too. That's another option they have. But Bijan Robinson, man, he looks like the best running back in the league in my opinion. The cuts he makes and the speed he runs with, the receiving threat too. That guy is tough to stop. And then you bring in Tyler Algier, who runs hard through the middle of the field. That's another tough one to get going. If they can ride that run game and Penix can keep moving the ball like he does, I like the Falcons to get 2-1 this week too and be a pesky team that fights for the bubble of the playoffs. Watch out for these Atlanta Falcons.
They very well could be a wildcard team. Would not surprise me.
easy division too. The New Orleans
Yeah.
Saints, that's 2 free wins, and they played the Bucks tight in week 1. Maybe they stick with Parker Romo. It was the Parker Romo legacy game last week. I think he gets to start again this week with Koo on the shelf. Maybe if he does well, Koo loses his job, which would be crazy to see as a fan favorite in the kicking world. But Parker Romo converted all of his attempts last week. I think he had 3 or 4 field goals. So that was nice to see, picking him up off the streets. But coming off of Sunday Night Football into a divisional matchup is not an easy thing to do. The Panthers fighting for their first.
They can't start 0-2 in the division. They cannot start 0-2 in the division.
Meanwhile, the Panthers, though, they can't start 0-3. And Bryce Young, if he's got anything in the tank, he's got to step up. Like I said, McMillan, look for him to continue to have a big day. I don't believe in that secondary at all for the Falcons. And we said their defense is playing well, but there's no true threats of any singular guy to take over the game. It's all going to be Bijan Robinson, though. He's going to have a big day, go for 100 total yards and find the end zone. Give me the Falcons here this week to win a tight one. I think Bryce Young keeps it close and puts some points on the board.
All righty, let's keep it moving through the 1 o'clock slate here. A couple more games in the 1 o'clock slate, starting here with the Texans and the Jags. Texans looking for their first win, but Jags at home here and the favorite, 2 points for them. Lower spread here for the week. Their money line at -125. Texans at +105. Total at 44. Do the Jags make it 2-1 on the year, or the Texans get their first win on the season? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I know Huff said this Texans team has played some tough opponents to start the year. They've had close games, and they haven't won either one. And yeah, they might be better than their record looks, but I think they go to 0-3 this week. The Jaguars have been playing good football. They were very close to being 2-0 against that Bengals team last week. Their defense is stepping up strongly. Travis Etienne, the emergence of his running game has been massive. He's one of the leading rushers in the league for a reason. That's because Liam Cohen has come into that Jaguars locker room and installed a run-first offense. He did it in.
I didn't realize you. I don't want to cut you off. You were just talking about him. I didn't realize you took his anytime last week until I was doing the results. That was a great play.
Yeah, it was at some +125, and he got it receiving. The crazy thing is, they gave it to their rookie Bilal Tootin on the first half. The same exact play in the second half, same exact spot of the field, about the 10-15 yard line. Hit him on a nice little short pass, and he found the end zone same exact way. It was crazy to watch. But ETN, when he's fully healthy, I think he's a legit RB1 in this league. We saw it in college. He had a injury-filled first couple of years, tough coaching scenario too. Him and Lawrence healthy could be a big thing here. Brian Thomas Jr., though, he really has to figure it out on the offensive side of the ball, holding up on tough plays. And a lot of people saying he doesn't really want to get into the nitty-gritty. One of the best rookie receivers in the league last year. He's got to step it up. And they also have to figure out that Travis Hunter usage. Using him on both sides of the ball can really limit his impact that he has when he touches the ball. He looked good in the secondary as a DB last week, though. Had a very, very tough defensive pass interference call against him that costed them the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. The refs really missed the call on that one. I think he played it to a T, textbook defensive coverage, and that cost them the game. But I think that the Jaguars are able to stun people, beat the Texans this week, and compete for that division. I do think the Texans later in the season pick it back up, but their offenses look so slow. CJ Stroud continuing his struggles from last year, not getting Nico Collins involved enough. We thought they would after that first drive. He found the end zone, then he went completely nowhere. Yeah, Nick Chubb got that late touchdown, but that running game is atrocious in Houston. Their defense is strong, led by Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter. Those are two good pass rushers they have getting after the ball. Derek Stingley in the secondary as well. I think ETN's going to be able to tote the rock well, and they'll have just enough to get the job done in a tight matchup here. I can see another 23-20 score in this one. Look for Brenton Strange to get involved in that offense as well. I just don't like the weapons that CJ Stroud has, and that slow offense is scaring me. Defense will keep him in it. Got the Jags on the money line this week, Hop. Tell me why you think the Texans are going to win this one.
I do like the Texans. This is my favorite play of the week. I'm going to take I'll take the 2 points. It's the +105 is not enticing enough. I'm going to take the Texans plus the 2 here. I think they are able to win this game. I do not see them start 0-3. I just don't think, and I'm big on this Jaguars team. I like a lot of what they're doing. Liam Cohen's look good, how he's going to use ETN and some of these running backs. Travis Hunter's look fun. Like you said about Brian Thomas, I'd look for him to maybe get in the end zone on this game. He's going to have a pesky Derek Stingley on the other side of the field, so that could be tough there. But I like the Texans here to come in, handle business in a divisional game. Back-to-back divisional games. I think our next one is as well. A lot of divisional games on the slate this weekend. I'm going to be taking the dog here. Texans +2. This is my favorite pick of the week.
Yeah, CJ Stroud saying our record is not what our team is. What is he going to have to do this week to step up, though? Jaden Higgins has shown okay, the second-round receiver they drafted. Nico Collins, you got to get him going. But why does he look so bad? Continuation of his sophomore slump.
I don't know, dude. That first throw looked so good, and I was like, oh, shit, they might. This might be one of those games where they just kind of pop off. Nico Collins looks great. and then they just kind of can't do anything after that. I don't know if it's their offensive play calling,
No run game.
their offensive line sucks. That's all. That's kind of the first thing. Any good team has a good offensive line. I think their offensive line sucks. Obviously, Chubb is your lead back. I think anymore in 2025 isn't much of a threat. We saw him break one to finish that game, but 25 yards. Like I don't even think he had that much speed behind it. But they need Mixon back. I don't know when or if he's coming back this year, but I like the Texans here. Divisional game. I think they handle business on the road.
Yeah, it'll have to be the defense. The pressure that Hunter and Anderson get is crazy. Then it will carry them if they can get it onto Trevor Lawrence. We see him susceptible to turnovers. But like I said, we're going to have to see a lot from this Houston Texans offense. They haven't had it in over a year now. Maybe it's because they have no secondary threat behind Nico Collins. Before it was Tank Dell or Stephon Diggs or whatnot. But they don't have anyone. Christian Kirk's still on the table. I don't like their tight end game with Dalton Schultz. It's going to be a low-scoring game if you think the Texans are going to win. Or Nico Collins somehow finds that gear and they get him fully involved. We'll have to see. I don't think that secondary for the Jags is the right home about, but this should be a good game. Low scoring, divisional game. I'm not going to card either one, but I've got the Jags just because of the reasons I mentioned earlier in the ineptness of the Texans to date. Got to flip the switch.
Heck yeah, boys. One final 1 o'clock game here. The Colts and the Titans in Nashville. The Colts are the favorite here. 3.5 points for them. Their money line at -210. The Titans at plus 170. The total sitting at 43.5. What are our thoughts on this game here? No trends for me in this one.
Ace, you want to go first here?
I'll have to take this one.
I don't know. I don't like anything the Tennessee Titans are selling here. Obviously, you got Cam Ward, but around him, I feel like there's not much there. What did they? Obviously, we know what they did in week 1 last week against the Rams at home in their home opener. The Rams are obviously a good team. Is that 2 good teams they've played?
They kept it tight too. They kept it tight.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not big on the Titans. You won't see me betting money on them here.
No.
This is our Colts. This is our team. In the great words of my man Seth, I'll take the Indianapolis Colts here.
For as good as the Colts have looked, Jonathan Taylor, leading rusher in the league, he's one of the best. We know that.
Daniel Jones, an absolute rushing threat.
Yeah, do you think they continue their success? I
mean, they have his anytime touchdown on my card this week. I think he will get in again.
Doesn't he have 2-2 or 2-1? Yeah, he's been all over it. Jonathan Taylor, too. Tyler Warren, the emergence, is one of the best tight ends in the league. That's been really nice to see. They do have receiving options, too. They don't really get them too involved, but their defense has been playing solid as well. And I think one of the best kickers in the league, Spencer Schrader, to start the year. He's looked really good stepping into that role. Meanwhile, the Titans, they have kept games close. So that's one thing to worry about in a divisional matchup. Cam Ward's kept him close against the Broncos and close against the Rams, 2 tough defensive units. He's getting Elik Ayumunor, the rookie. He had his first touchdown last week. Calvin Ridley, they got to get him going. Tony Pollard's actually looked good in a featured role with a legit quarterback. I think he ran 20 for 94 last week, unscoreless yards. So look for him to find the end zone this week. I think he finally cracks it. You could take both running backs in this game. I think I saw a stat or a quote that said, Cam Ward is doing all the crazy things that Will Levis does, but he completes the pass. We saw him throwing some Patrick Mahomes-esque sidearm throws and laying on the ground and stuff like that. So I think he has a bright future out of him, but the Titans do not have enough on either side of the football.
No.
I don't like their coaching staff either, but I do think that he keeps it competitive here. Another low-scoring game. I don't see a lot of points, and the Colts are too hot. You can't go against them right now. Looking like one of the best teams in football. I think they do improve to 3-0. And
they haven't punted through 2 weeks.
Yeah, Indiana Jones rewrites the script and they didn't even do that during the Peyton Manning era, so it's kind of crazy to see that.
The first time in NFL history a team hasn't punted through 2 weeks.
Crazy. They had Peyton Manning, they had Andrew Luck, couldn't do it, but Daniel Jones can. The dual threat, playing his heart out, playing his mind out.
He looks like a different person. Like
something about getting out of the Meadowlands. Sam Darnold did it.
Was it Kevin O'Connell?
Daniel Jones did it.
Was it Kevin O'Connell?
I don't know. Maybe it's just letting him free and giving him a true role, not having the pressure of New York all over him. That's another thing.
The crazy thing is, like, a lot of people, I think, at least Colts fans going into the season, a lot of people on the outside, no one really had expectations for this team. The question was, are we going to see Anthony Richardson? He
won the job in camp.
That's what I mean. Like, what a lot of people weren't really sure what the quarterback situation was going to be for the Colts. Once they named Daniel Jones, I did say I think this is the best roster he's ever had around him. Jonathan Taylor,
having Jonathan Taylor,
great receivers, not great receivers, good receivers to step into in a team in a bad division.
Great tight end.
Yeah, Tyler Warren's been an absolute stud. Good point there, but I like the Colts here. I'm gonna buy it to 3. Give me 3.
I'll tell you what, I might take both those running backs in my card this week to get in the end zone. Tony Pollard and Jonathan Taylor, look for them both to eat this week. Other than that, I don't see many air yards from either. And Daniel Jones is like, it's another one to look at too. He's done it so far
Daniel
every week.
Jones anytime touchdown. McAfee called it the dimes dive.
Yeah, you're gonna take it this week?
Is it posted yet? Let me see the odds.
Could be in the plus range, but they're too hot to go against the Titans. The Titans are going to be looking forward to the draft. They already were before the year started.
Daniel Jones averaging 300 yards a game right now.
Yeah.
Passing.
That's craziness. I think that they stay hot this week. Great matchup for them. First road game of the year, though. Maybe it was playing in Lucas Oil Stadium that really helped them out, playing that dome at home. So we'll see how the Colts fare on the road this week in a divisional matchup. And a lot of pressure on them, too. People thinking that they are one of those top teams now. How does Daniel Jones do with expectations? When you can hand to the 28 in the backfield, I think you should be fine, though.
Yeah. Pittman's look great. I'm excited. I'm kind of hopping on the bandwagon here for a little bit just because I made a hot take about them and it's working out for right now. So for the time being, I'm a Colts supporter.
We got to get you an Indiana Jones hat. You and the rest of the football world is really loving on this team right now, and strike it while the pan's hot. I think they stick with it this week. 3-0.
I shouldn't be a fan of them because they're going to be in the same picture as my Steelers at the end of the year if my take is right.
You got to hope.
They're probably going to be the team that gets in front of us. Especially now that the Bengals, Burrow's out for the year, that clears up a spot.
Division's wide open, though. They could even come for that AFC South, especially with Jaguars-Texans this week. That's a pivotal game. A lot of AFC South here.
That's what I mean. They start out on a streak. That always obviously helps. The games at the beginning of the season mean just as much the ones at the end.
Alrighty, let's keep it going here. 4:00 games here for this week. Starting out with the Broncos and the Chargers here in LA. The Chargers are the favorite here, -3 for them. Their money line at -155. The Broncos at +130. The total sitting at 46. What are our thoughts, Ace, on this one?
Such a pivotal game here. The Broncos with a tough loss last week to the Colts. They barely squeaked out a win against the Titans in week 1, and Bo Nix is showing glimpses of a sophomore slump. J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey, they've been splitting carries, more going to Dobbins. They haven't come up with a true threat. Troy Franklin leading their team in receiving with Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims behind them. Tight end position has yet to step up with Evan Engram. That defense is very, very solid, though, so this is a true test for the Los Angeles Chargers and Justin Herbert. But Justin Herbert, with the weapons of Keenan Allen, Ladd McConkey, and Quentin Johnson on his shoulders, is a very nice thing to have. Yeah, I said Quentin Johnson. People hated on him coming in, but they're starting to open their eyes. I called it last year. He had a tough rookie season with drops, but he's a fan favorite of Justin Herbert. They have a good connection. He's a red zone threat. He finds the end zone, and he's starting to catch the ball and prove why he was a top pick. Those three with old man Keenan running around and a very healthy matchup for him every week. That's why he's putting up touchdowns and solid numbers. I think they keep the good times rolling here. Look for Mario Hampton to get a little bit more involved. That secondary's looked really good for the Chargers, too. One guy that really caught my eye was number 0, the linebacker, Diane Henley. One of the best young linebackers in the league. He was all over the field against the Raiders last week. And without Khalil Mack, they're going to need pressure in other sorts of ways. The secondary with Tony Jefferson and led by Derwin James, they've been stepping up as well, playing attacking football. Maybe it was because it was the Raiders, but this is a prove-it spot for the Broncos. Are the Chargers really that team to watch out for in the NFL, in the AFC, and especially the AFC West? Or are the Broncos still one of those solid teams that can stick around? Pivotal game in the AFC West. You don't want to let the Chargers get to 3-0, and the Broncos desperately need to get to 2-1. Huff, do you think the Chargers can get it done like I do?
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chargers. I'm going to take a minus. It looks like it's going to go to 2.5 here. I'd lean on the Chargers here at home. Divisional matchup, like you said. The Broncos. Bo Nix hasn't looked great. A lot of question marks around that team. That defense is supposed to be this big bad defense that a lot of people were high on coming into this year. We saw what Daniel Jones did to them last week. The week before, it was Cam Ward, so not a lot of expectations from that Titans team. But like you said, you do not want to let this Chargers game get to 3-0. No team is bigger Broncos fans this week than the Kansas City Chiefs. Not wanting that Chargers team to start out that hot. Chiefs have a favorable matchup, but they'd love everyone to be sitting at 2-1, them sitting right there at 1-2. So I do think the Chargers handle business here. I like them minus the 2.5, whatever it's going to end up being. But yeah, give me LA at home in SoFi.
Is that the best wide receiver core that you can have in the league? Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson. I mean, they're absolutely nails. How do you cover all three of them? Keenan Allen's your third target. Who are you putting on him to stop him? Last week against the Raiders, there's some guy that was way too small and way too slow. Old man Keenan running right by him, catching touchdowns, toe tapping, coming up with third down conversions. The amount of weapons at Herbert's disposal is the reason that I think they're a team to watch out for this year, and he could push for the MVP.
I'm trying to think of like other receiving cores, maybe like the Bucks.
When healthy, yeah.
Yeah,
The
even like the
Eagles,
Bengals, I'd probably still take just Chase and Higgins.
Bengals and Eagles. Yeah, those are good ones to look at too. But the three-headed monster, you don't see many people with three wide
Vikings,
receiver one
Addison,
options.
Jefferson,
Thielen.
Thielen.
Yeah, but this group is very strong. And Lab McConkey, I think, is a rising superstar. Haven't even had to use him that much, but he's drawing the elite coverage away from him. Yeah, Harbaugh's got this team playing in good spots right now. Look for them to continue their success. And that old line's very strong too. Missing one of their top linemen, but Joe Alt's still holding it down.
Yeah.
A couple other big names too. Look for the Chargers to continue their success this year.
Alrighty, keeping it going through the 4 o'clock matchups here. Saints and Seahawks are here next in Seattle. The Seahawks are the favorite here, 7.5 points, one of our largest spreads here of the week. Their total at 41.5. What do we think is going to happen between the Saints and the Seahawks here this week?
The 12th man's going to Rattler.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know if you'll see me put money on the Saints this year. It'll have to be a very unique situation, but it certainly won't be this week up there in Seattle, like Ace said, with the 12th man going. I'd take the Seahawks here, -7.5, but
that defense is strong for the Seahawks too.
It's a big number. This is a scary game. I feel like for some reason this could fall at 7. You have 7.5, but yeah, I'd lean on the Seahawks.
How is the New Orleans Saints going to put points on the board? They couldn't contain Mac Jones. Now Sam Darnold with Cooper Kupp, JSN, Torrey Horton stepping up in that dual-headed threat, one of the best running back rooms in the league with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker.
Are they the worst team in the league? Them or the Titans?
They're the worst team in the league, the New Orleans Saints are.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't have a true quarterback. They don't have any receiving weapons. Juwan Johnson's look good as a tight end. It's about the only bright spot. They still have AK. I wish he'd get out of there. But
yeah, I want him to get the hell out of there.
But we do like
right now.
him in a Saints jersey. It is electric to see him there. But not on this roster that they currently have. I think Sam Darnold keeps the good times rolling. I look for JSN to have a big day. I think both running backs, both Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, can find pay dirt this week. That Seahawks team, man, they're going to be sneaky. That whole NFC West is very strong this year. Seahawks win once again, going back home to Seattle.
Alrighty, on to the next here. Cardinals and 49ers, two more teams that are looking for their first loss here. 49ers at home here. They're also the favorite. 2.5 points for them. Their money line at -145. Cardinals at +118. The total sitting at 44.5. What are our thoughts on this matchup?
Is this Mac Jones again?
It is Mac Jones again. Brock Purdy's upgraded to questionable, but he's still there.
I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I'm going to take them on the money line. I think this Cardinals team does look at least hot to start the year. A weird matchup against that Panthers team where they jumped out and they had the big comeback. I'm going to look at the Cardinals to pick up a huge divisional win on the road against an injured 49ers team. Give me the Cardinals +118 on the money line. Maybe a Kyler rushing touchdown sprinkled in there. James Conner's looked great as he always does, just Mr. Consistent. But yeah, give me the Cardinals on the road here.
Yeah, this is a very interesting matchup, but you're not going to see me card either side. Mac Jones at the helm. That's who Kyle Shanahan wanted the whole time, kind of proving the front office. We should have taken him over Trey Lance as he put up 300 last week and a few touchdowns. Jawan Jennings was healthy. That was a plus for him. And let's not forget, Christian McCaffrey looked absolutely great. The Cardinals defense has played well to date, minus that fourth quarter last week. Maybe that's a little bit of a lull for the Cardinals, a little thorn in their side is, oh God, what just happened to us? We almost blew that game. Yeah, they ended up winning, stay at 2-0. But this 49ers team's firing on all cylinders. They have a very strong defense, too, so this is a great test for Marvin Harrison, Kyler Murray, James Conner, Trey Benson getting more involved, too. I think he eventually might take over that James Conner role, but James Conner is timeless. He just keeps proving he's a great running back. But getting both involved is a big piece of that offense. But I'm leaning on the Niners here. I think Mac Jones plays simple in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Best offensive mind in the league, him and Kevin O'Connell. I think Shanahan can definitely make do with what he's got. And when you have 23 healthy, Christian McCaffrey is the best player on the field on both sides of the ball. Kyler Murray is going to be running for his life against that Niners defense. It's going to be a tight game. Let's see if Kyler and Marv can answer the bell, because you know that Mac Jones is going to be slinging it. I called it last week on the pod, Mac Jones, big game, and he delivered. I think it's more so the weapons, but without George Kittle, without Brandon Ayuk, they're getting the job done. Good O-line helps that. Good coach and good defense does too. Giving the Niners to little brother Cardinals once again, but it is early in the season with no Call of Duty, so K1's balling out. I just don't think that the Cardinals will be able to step up to the task. Tough defense for Kyler to read this week.
All righty, just two more 4 o'clock matchups here next. Or sorry, just one more 4 o'clock matchup here to finish us off. The Cowboys and the Bears here. The Bears at home, but the Cowboys are the favorite. Just 1 point for the Cowboys. Their money line at -115. Bears at -105. The total sitting at 50.5. What are our thoughts on this one here this week?
I mean, this Bears team has been giving up points left and right. They got beat by J.J. McCarthy after a good start to week 1. They got demolished by the Detroit Lions, and Ben Johnson did not even want to shake Dan Campbell or the rest of the Lions team's hands after the game. Caleb Williams showing he should not have been the number 1 pick in the draft a couple of years ago, with all those great names at quarterback that are taking over the league by storm right now. But can they answer the bell and get a win this week? I don't think it happens against the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys offense looked to get rolling a little bit. Javonte Williams, one of the leading rushers, showing he's still an RB1 when healthy. The wheels are turning for him. He's finding the end zone. CeeDee Lamb with a big 100-yard day last week. And George Pickens, they got to get on the same page. Him and Dak Prescott missing some passes. Got to figure out how to throw that ball up top, kind of like the Steelers used to do to Pickens, let him snatch it out of the air. But Dak looked pretty good in spots, and that defense is getting stronger. They need to get healthy in their secondary. We saw Malik Neighbors toast them last week. But with the leg of Brandon Aubrey, I think that's just enough to get by this week. I'm looking for a big Cowboys bounce-back week here. They could have a big blowout win. You said this game's in Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah, that's massive.
No, sorry, it's in Chicago.
All right. Well, yeah, that helps out a little bit. I was going to say, if this is in Dallas, they're going to be singing that Texas song all day long with a lot of touchdowns going up. Being in Soldier Field helps a little bit, but I don't trust this Bears defense at all to contain that high-flying Cowboys offense. Look for Dak to kind of show off why he's still one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Caleb Williams does not have anything in him to get it done. Not high on the fingernail painting guy at all. Give me the Cowboys here to beat him by double digits.
Yeah, I'm not huge on the as big on the Cowboys to win this game as you are. I think the Bears eventually will turn it on. I'm not going to bet them here. I'd lean on the Cowboys here to get the job done. Not as confident, but yeah, the Bears defense looks absolutely terrible. We just saw Ben Johnson say in a press conference, our practice efforts are not that of a championship caliber team. So, he's not happy with what he's seeing, trying to, build a culture over there in Chicago. I think it's going to be a long year for Bears fans. I think Cowboys get a road win here.
If you got to think though, the Bears, after getting demolished last week, losing a heartbreaker week 1, and coming into against a Cowboys team that they saw what the Giants did to them, they got to think, hey, maybe we give it our all and can kind of fight in this game. I don't think they have it in the tank. I think that the Cowboys team is too much on both sides of the ball. But maybe they show some sort of life, some sort of fight. I just don't see that offense doing anything. DJ Moore's good. Odunze looked really, really good. He's kind of stepping up and showing why he's a premier receiver.
He got the was it touchdown last week against the Lions?
2 last week, yeah. He's kind of showing out why he's one of the better receivers in the league. Him and Moore's a great dual threat with Luther Burden behind him. They have Komet and Loveland. They have DeAndre Swift. All the options are there for Caleb Williams, but can he put it together? Got to limit those bad turnovers. The defense has to stop something, because if you're giving up 30-plus a game, you're not winning anything.
So far, it looks like they drafted the wrong tight end.
Yep. I think he's just he'll ease his way in. Next year's his big year. Drafted the wrong quarterback for sure, though.
Yeah.
All righty, keeping it going here. Let's jump into our Sunday night football game here for week 3. The Chiefs and the Giants. Going to be a great one here, right? Giants at home. Chiefs the favorite here. 6.5 points for them. The total at 45.5. What happens here?
Does Russ have any magic left off, or did he use it all in the losing
I think he
effort
might have used
week?
it all, dude. I don't know. This is a tough matchup to come home to.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are reeling after losing 2 straight games to great teams in the Chargers and the Eagles. Travis Kelce dropping one right through his hands for an interception that changed the course of the game on the goal line. Patrick Mahomes has looked really good, though. The way he's running the football, they don't have a true run game. This is a spot for their run game to get right. Yeah, Brian Burns and Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence will be getting after him all day long, but he's been showing able to do it with his feet. Mahomes is rushing for over 50 yards, 70 yards in his 2 games to start. I think Pacheco actually kind of starts going this week. Juju Smith-Schuster and Hollywood Brown are doing enough on the offensive side of the ball, and they're targeting my guy Tyquan Thornton early and often. Patrick Mahomes looking for him as a deep threat. But I think that the Chiefs defense is going to be all over Russ this game. Spagnuolo is going to be dialing up the blitz. They're going to be getting after him. I know Scadabo's taking over that running back 1 role in the Giants. He looked good last week, but Chris Jones is going to be the answer to shut down that power runner. Meanwhile, I think Malik Neighbors continues to eat. Like I said, number 5 wide receiver in the league for a reason. He's been completely dynamite last week after complaining week 1 about not seeing the ball enough. And he'll find Pater in 100 yards once again. Wan'Dale Robinson looking strong too, but Russell Wilson is going to be under duress all day long. Patrick Mahomes is not going 0-3 to start the season. Give me the Chiefs by whatever points they're laying.
Yeah, I got to agree here. You cannot think the Chiefs start 0-3. I don't think the Giants have any more points left in them after that game in Dallas. Malik Neighbors will look good, but I think Russ will be able to get something done. But you could look for a turnover or 2. from this Giants offense as a whole. I'd like the Chiefs here minus the 6 on the road. Sunday Night Football. This is a crazy Sunday night game. I feel like these two teams don't really play each other in the first place.
This is one of the first times there's an 0-2 matchup on Sunday Night Football too. You don't see that very
that's
often.
the other thing. It just you look at the time and then the records. It just doesn't really go with Sunday Night Football. But I guess we're gonna do it. Chiefs minus 6.
Spagnuolo is going to be dialing up those crazy blitz packages, and it's going to be throwing pressure in the face of Russ all day. Chiefs getting back in the win column this week.
I think you guys are right. Solid takes there, but let's jump over our Monday Night Football game here. Lions and Ravens, going to be a little bit of a better one here. Ravens at home, also the favorite, -5 on the spread for them, a weird spread, but the total at 52.5, our highest of the week here in our final game that we will chat about. What are your guys' thoughts here going into Monday Night Football?
Jason. Points galore coming in this one, I think. We got Abik Patel, been on the podcast. He's giving us a take right here. Here's your moon stat for the week. The Lions are playing the Ravens during a waxing crescent moon, and the Lions are 9-1 on these moons in the last 2 seasons, Huff. I don't know if you're riding any moon trends for this game, but that's one for you. I do think that there's going to be a lot of points scored on both sides of the ball. I think that Derrick Henry is going to be running all over this Lions defense. Meanwhile, I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a strong game. Amon-Ra St. Brown went absolutely nuclear last week with a hat trick of touchdowns and over 100 yards. Jared Goff showing that the Lions were the #1 scoring offense in the NFL last season for a reason, but maybe that was a Ben Johnson revenge game. Maybe it was the Bears defense. You got to think Roquan Smith and co. will be strong this week. They were last week against the Browns. That's why he earned AFC Defensive Player of the Week honors with his touchdown, his TFLs, and all of his tackles. Second leading tackle in the NFL, by the way. But I think that Zay Flowers, he's a top 5 receiver in the league right now in terms of yardage. He's going to continue a strong season. DeAndre Hopkins, let's not forget about him as a wide receiver 2, 3, whatever you want to call him in that offense. Maybe to get Isaiah Likely back this week too. That'd be another bolster to the offense. In the NFL's all-time leader in passing completion percentage and rushing yards, Lamar Jackson, will continue a strong day. Look for him and Derrick Henry to eat. I've got the Ravens winning this one and a lot of points for both teams. Huff, what do you think about the Lions going to take on the Ravens?
I kind of agree. I think this will be a high-scoring game. Obviously, 52.5 is a lot of points. 5 points on the road here for the Lions. I was a little shocked by how many points they're getting here. I think I would agree, or at least lean on the Lions here plus the 5. I just think it's going to be I think it's going to be a little back and forth. The moon bet, Abik pointed out, rides with my play here. I lean on the Lions plus the 5. I think it's too many points. If they're going to lose this game, it'll be under 5. That's a lot in a primetime Monday night game where I expect a lot of points back and forth. I could see it be, somewhere in the 31, 27, 28, something like that.
That covers for you. And what about Jameson Williams popping off last week? I think everybody on the Lions offense scored. Montgomery, Jameson Williams, Gibbs, and St. Brown. Yeah, they played the Bears, but it was good to get that stuff rolling for them. Tesla's coming up with a nice catch week after week, so we got to expect another snag by him. Same with D-Hop. They both get limited catches, but when they do, they make it count. In the Ravens, if they have a big lead like they did against the Bills in the primetime again, can they hold on to it this time? I've got the Ravens here, though. I think they're one of the best teams in the league for a reason. Great matchup, though. Even if the Lions go to 1-2 or the Ravens, I still think they're in that mix for the playoffs and even possible Super Bowl push from either side. But, yeah, I've got the Ravens here this week to win this one. It's going to be a great game. Derrick Henry definitely finding the end zone. I think you can take a lot of anytime touchdown bets in this one. They'll hit.
I agree.
Alrighty, that's going to wrap up everything we got in the NFL here this week. A great week 3 ahead. Make sure you stay tuned for all our picks on Instagram and Twitter on Thursday, Sunday, Monday, and our live stream on YouTube, Rumble, TikTok on Sunday morning as well. But let's keep it going here. College football's next. Let's take a look at the new rankings for this week in college football as we head into week 4. Coming in, let's do the top 10 here. Coming in at number 10, we have Texas A&M, number 9. Illinois, number 8, Texas, number 7, FSU, number 6, Oregon, number 5, University of Georgia, number 4, Miami, number 3, LSU, number 2, my Penn State Nittany Lions, and number 1, the Ohio State University. Huff, what are we thinking here about the college football world coming into this week here, week 4?
Yeah, obviously Penn State with a big one coming up. I think it's next weekend against Oregon. I think last week I said it was this coming weekend. That is next weekend. I think Penn State's on a bye, so big matchup coming next weekend in the top 10 of college football. Oregon, Georgia wins a big one in Tennessee just by I think it was a last second field goal there. Miami looks great. LSU with another win against Florida there. Florida with 5 interceptions. Lagway has not looked good to start the season. But yeah, a great top 10. Texas A&M, a huge win at Notre Dame. I called that one last week. So yeah, couple great games on the week or on the slate this weekend. Couple ranked versus ranked that I pulled here. Texas Tech versus Utah, number 17 at 16 there. Number 22, I forget. I think it was Auburn. I forgot to fill this in here. Let me pull this up. That is playing Oklahoma. So the SEC matchup there. I think that was ranked on ranked. I do not know what my phone is doing. Give me one moment here. Let me see. I want to say it was Auburn. Yeah, number 22 Auburn, 3-0 Auburn at Oklahoma. Newly crowned Heisman favorite John Mateer leading that Oklahoma offense. They look good down there in Norman. And then a Big Ten matchup in the Midwest. Number 9 Illinois. I think it's crazy Illinois is this high. Altmaier's very good, but I think it's crazy Illinois is this high. Illinois is that high. At 19 Indiana, the college football playoff team last year. So a good matchup there. So there's a couple games to keep your eye on for as we get some plays out for you this weekend.
Heck yeah, definitely lots of good stuff. Like Huff said, make sure you stay tuned for our picks here on Saturday for those games, Instagram and Twitter. Without further ado, let's jump into the MLB here. Starting out with our power rankings for this week. Coming in at number 5, we have the Milwaukee Brewers. Number 4, the Chicago Cubs. Number 3, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Number 2, the Toronto Blue Jays. And number 1, the Philadelphia Phillies. What are we thinking about these power rankings here coming into this week, Aries?
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty strong. The Philadelphia Phillies showing that they're the best team in the NL, at least. Even without their ace and Zach Wheeler, they've been putting together all year long, and the Mets have really faded away. Mackey's team is fighting for their playoff life now, sitting in that last wild card spot. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays lead the AL East. The Brewers have been doing their thing all season long. You could put them higher, but we don't believe in them that much. The Los Angeles Dodgers, we know how great they are, and we saw Ohtani's best start of the year come last night, too. So that's an encouraging thing to see, and it was against those Philadelphia Phillies who match up with each other again tonight. So that's a fun one to watch. It's a lot of other stuff that's interesting in the league right now. The Seattle Mariners overtook the Houston Astros for the AL West lead. They could be in our power rankings as well. 9-1 in their last 10. That team's on absolute fire, and they're stacked. They brought in the bats at the deadline. They have Cal Raleigh hitting them. He's going to hit over 60 home runs. I think he's at like 57
he's
right
just
now.
past 55.
Yeah, 56, 57 home runs right now. For a catcher, that's absurd to see. Meanwhile,
they're 10-0 in their last 10. They just won their 10th game.
Yeah, and the Astros are right there behind them, too. So now in the wild card spots, we have the Yankees, the Astros, and the Red Sox. The Red Sox are the 2.5-game lead over the next team, which is the Indians, who are on a little bit of a heater right now, and the Rangers, who are falling out a little bit. But they're only a half a game behind the Astros, so we're close to getting a Red Sox-Yankees playoff series, which would be absolute dynamite to see. My team's got to keep winning some more games. They only have about 11 here left, but to clinch that playoff berth would be massive. Meanwhile, in the West, you have those Padres sitting in the playoff spot, too. They're strong. And another team without their ace, the Chicago Cubs, no Justin Steele this year, and they're still doing their thing with Kyle Tucker and co. really leading the way. That's a team you got to watch out for come playoff time. It's going to be interesting these final few weeks. I do like the Dodgers to get back at least to the NL Championship. I think they can push to get to the World Series again.
You think Phillies can do it?
I think it could be Phillies-Dodgers. I know it's a couple of front runners, but I think they're the two strongest teams in the league. And if they get match up there, that'd be an absolutely great series like we're seeing this week. Mackey's Mets, they got to hold on and just get in, man. I mean, they had such high expectations. They brought in all these people, and now they're kind of falling flat on their face and on the brink of losing their playoff spot to the sellers at the deadline, the Arizona Diamondbacks. So it's an interesting series right here. Only about a dozen games left for these teams to see who can clinch a playoff berth, but a lot is here to be unwritten. Come next week, we'll have a better picture of who's actually going to make these playoffs. But if you're taking a World Series bet right now, Huff, who are you taking?
What are the odds? Can we pull those up?
Yep, I got them here. Give me one sec. World Series winners coming in the lead, plus 450 is the Phillies. Dodgers at plus 550. Brewers plus 700. Blue Jays plus 800. Yankees plus 900. Tigers and Mariners plus 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, I think
love the value on the Mariners, but I think the Phillies win it. I almost put a future on the Phillies, like I can't remember when, a couple months back when I had a good week on baseball and I didn't do it. It was already at like 6-1. I wanted a little more juice there, but looks like I missed it anyway. So I'll say Phillies versus Mariners. That'd be an awesome World Series.
Let me see right here for you, Huff. I think I have a future from a while ago on these Phillies. Let's see what the odds were at. Plus 1,200. This was on May 11th. Plus 1,200. You could have gotten the
Yeah, I
Phillies
like
at.
that.
So that's not a bad one to have sitting in the brink.
I remember when I was gonna do it at $650, and I was like, I could throw $100 on them. That'd be fun. And I just never did it.
Jesse, what are the Dodgers at right now?
Dodgers were at 550.
Wow, that's crazy. At the beginning of the year, they were at plus 250 to start the season too. So
we did say, are we ever gonna see them at a lower price?
Yeah, and we
or a higher
do
price.
right now. Here's another interesting one for you. The Cubs at the beginning of the year, plus 2,000. That was not a bad one to look into.
Just clinched a playoff spot today for the first time since 2020.
Yep, the plus 2,000 is not a bad one. I had the Padres at plus 1,800 was another one that I tossed in. Of course, my Red Sox.
Would you, like either the Cubs or Brewers? Can you see either of them make a run?
I can see the Cubs make a run. I don't believe in the Brewers at all. I don't think their pitching is relevant enough to do it. Yeah, Quinn Priester's having an insane season. Yeah, they have the bats around the lineup. I think all these other teams are way too star-studded, too much good pitching and clutch hitting to get the job done. I'd take them to lose in the wild card round or their first playoff series, whatever it is. They run into a team like the Mets if they can get in, or the Padres. I think they could take them out in the first round. Meanwhile, that AL is wide open. Notice how neither of us really talked about an AL future. It could be anybody. The Astros, Yankees, and Red Sox, if those are your three wildcard teams, those are scary ones. The Blue Jays and Mariners are great teams, but can they do it in the postseason? The Tigers, the same thing. Screwball has a scare of an injury too, but he seems fine, and he's back pitching again, so they need him to be relevant. But those division leaders, I think they could lose to the wild cards on that side. Meanwhile, in the NL, it's the front runners.
I was going to say, I have a note in here that I'll just jump to. Who do you think is the three wildcard teams in each?
I think
league?
they stay pat in the AL. I think the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Astros or the Mariners, however that division shakes out, claim those spots. I don't think the Indians. They're on a heater right now. I think they've won like 10 of their last 11 or something like that.
9-1.
Yeah, so
in the last 10. That ESPN shows last 10.
Yeah, so I think they're playing good baseball, but I don't think they're good enough to get in. I think they kind of fizzle out. They'd have to have a crazy streak to overtake the Red Sox or the Astros or even the Yankees. Then those teams would have to stumble mightily in their last 12 games.
I think both stay put, honestly.
I think I could see the Mets falling out, just some heartbreak.
Who do they have this week?
I got to see who the Mets are playing. I know they were playing the Padres.
They're playing the Padres right now, and they're losing again. Then they play the Padres, then home against the Nationals, at the Cubs, at the Marlins.
The thing is, the Diamondbacks were sellers. They don't even want to win. They lost today in extra innings, but they play the Phillies and then the Dodgers and then the Padres to end the year. I don't see the Diamondbacks overtaking them. So you're probably right. It probably stays pat.
Yeah, I don't think the Diamondbacks have a gauntlet. They're not getting it.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really stepping up.
I agree.
Alrighty, I think that's everything we got here this week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for everything. Let's make sure to stay tuned for all our picks on Instagram and Twitter for here in week 3 for college football. MLB playoffs are fast approaching. The NHL and MLB NBA are coming up. Any other thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
No, that's it. Make sure you're staying tuned. Hit the books. Pod on Instagram. HitTheBooks_pod on Twitter. All of our college football, NFL,
Patriots money line,
and MLB plays. Yeah, big games. Steelers, Patriots on Sunday. I'll get some plays out there for you in the NFL. So, thanks for listening. Leave us a like, follow, share, subscribe. We appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on Sunday for all of our official picks in the NFL on our Sunday Week 3 live stream.
See you guys then.